Welcome back to more Pokeland. We got all your favorite characters. We got Toby Keith, we got Gladys, and we got Squirtle, the three most famous Pokemon. Doesn't this channel make you nostalgic for the good old days of Pokemon when you could only have like 50 Pokemon in the box or whatever? Could you actually catch them all in the first one, or was there some kind of limitation? I feel like there was. I know this topic came up a couple months ago when Sword and Shield was coming out, and everybody was so outraged, and they were saying, you can't even catch them all anymore. People. So, let's see, what other Pokemon trivia do I have for you, since we're still on this? You know, there was that Pokemon board game, Pokemon Master Quest. Did you ever play that before? That was a good time. It had the little cardboard pegs with pictures of Pokemon on them. And I feel like I'm overemphasizing the letter P when I speak, and that's probably gonna screw up the audio. Anyway, yeah, I had the board game, and apparently it's worth a good deal of money now, but I wouldn't sell it though, because I seem to be missing a fair amount of the pieces. There was an incident when I was a lad, where the neighbor kid took a bunch of pieces to the board game. Like, I saw him doing it and everything, but I guess I was okay with it. Like, he started by taking all the Pokemon cards for some reason. I was just kinda okay, and then he started taking pieces to a board game that he did not own. I don't know what he intended to do with them, but for some reason I never bothered to try and stop him. I guess he had kinda talked me into it. Those were strange days. So I'm trying to see if I can find a Mankey in this particular patch of grass, and then perhaps do some light grinding as well. Multitasking, as they say. So yeah, I never did get the pieces back to that board game, but they made a new version of the board game that came later. This one was based on the Gen 3 Pokemon, and they had little paper cards for each of them, and instead of just cardboard circular pieces. I probably still got that board game around here somewhere. In fact, I bet it's in this closet right next to me. Let me have a look here, leaning. Yep, there it is, but I can't get to it because it's under a huge pile of stuff. It's underneath the box that the Nintendo Wii came in 2006. It's underneath the other version of Master Quest with the missing pieces. We got a PS4 box, a PS Classic box. Looks like maybe Battleship or maybe Risk. There's another undetermined white box up there. We got the Super NT's box. Well, I just have a huge stack of cardboard boxes back here. And then just one other additional. I can't tell what that one is, but anyway, the point of what I'm getting at here is I don't think it would be feasible to try and get it out of there, not without a lot of work. Okay, what do we got here? Jigglypuff? I had to look away for a few minutes to analyze the contents of that shelf, and now I don't know what's going on in the game. Yes, the gameplay and commentary are recorded separately if you were not aware. I think that should definitely confirm it. Good to be honest about how you produce this show so the fans don't go psycho and make conspiracy-themed subreddits about you. I have made that joke in a previous episode before, if you can even call it a joke, so no need to retread over old ground, I guess. Jigglypuff's putting up a good fight, eh? You know, I guess the combat wasn't as balanced in this one, so the Sing probably makes your character fall asleep for a lot longer than it does in the new ones. Everything's much more balanced and soft and is generally a lot less difficult. I gotta tone it down for the kiddies. Even though the original games were already made for the kids, I guess they gotta tone it down for the stupid kiddies. Oh, what a world. Or maybe it's always been this way and I've just outgrown it. Who knows? Alright, I'm gonna estimate maybe one more hit on Jigglypuff. And then, yeah, that should do it. Oh, nope. As the Pokemon Stadium announcer says, will this do it? Wonder whatever happened to that guy. He was a good announcer. In Pokemon Battle Revolution, which came out like a decade later, they replaced the announcer with the one from the anime, and I was kind of disappointed in that. I like the old school Pokemon Stadium announcer. The anime guy, it's just not the same. Speaking of anime, do you guys ever look up Synth Cool like I've mentioned in episodes of previous years? Because he always has his catchphrase, there are many complex characters in anime. He just likes to parody those fat, disgusting neckbeards you run into on the internet. I do wonder what it would be like to live the fat neckbeard life and just to not have a real job and to just immerse yourself in all this media. I'd imagine it would get old eventually. Okay, so almost at Mount Moon. I believe you can get the Moonstone somewhere in here. Not that you care, but the option is there. Let's see, I'm checking my list of conversational topics. So I saw a video the other day. There was a guy at some kind of general purpose nerd convention. You know, the ones where the people can dress up as characters from pretty much any type of media. And there was a guy dressed up as George Lucas, of all things, and he had like a fake, I guess, goiter coming, well, maybe not quite a goiter, but some kind of large lump that was the width of his neck, and he was pretending to protest the new Star Wars movies, and he was saying, J.J. Abrams sucks, I'm gonna kick his ass. And he gave a plastic Jar Jar toy to some kid at the convention. So all you Star Wars people can probably answer this for me. Did George Lucas ever try to push Jar Jar on people at a theme park? Because there was a different show that I watched which made it sound like there was some kind of ride with a pre-recorded video of George Lucas, and at one point he says, everybody say, I love Jar Jar. I don't think anybody did it. This ride's not gonna move until you all say it. Oh, George Lucas. The new Star Wars movies just aren't the same without you. Everybody made fun of you back then, thinking that you ruined Star Wars, but now that you're gone, Star Wars is different, or terrible in a different way. Now it's just this soulless, manufactured husk, and you can tell it wasn't made. The movie didn't start out with somebody saying, I've got an idea for a movie. The movie started out with a bunch of corporate business people sitting at a table and saying, well, we just paid $50 billion for this property, let's try and recoup our losses by putting out some movies. And it's all about money. No creative idea at the heart of it. Sure, it's got all the old actors and all the other set pieces from the original movies, but it's just not the same. New Star Wars sucks is the thesis of what I'm trying to say here. I think we can catch a Paris in this tunnel somewhere, but I don't know if it's on this floor or if it's elsewhere. In the short term that would be good, but long term wise I don't think that would be good for the team, because bug types generally don't have a lot of offensive power. You know, I mean, yeah, all you Poke fanatics out there, you know what I'm talking about. All you sad, lonely adults that have got who've got the entire combat system of Pokemon memorized. Get a life. Lots of Zubats in here, but we're not gonna bother with that, because this is Gen 1 and he can't evolve into Crobat yet, so he's not a good long-term member. I had a Crobat in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl back in the day, and that was a hell of a Crobat. He was the star player on the team. I think each of his moves was a different type, and you could pretty much throw him into any situation. I remember, this is one of those false memory Mandela effect type things, because I remember telling somebody about this Crobat that I had on my team, and I remember we were standing in line for a movie for some reason, but I don't think that's like a real memory, because I don't remember what movie we would have seen. It would have been the summer of 2007, and frankly, nothing's coming to mind. I'm gonna have to look that up later. What the heck was it? Let me put this on you, audience. Start naming some movies from the summer of 2007 and in the comments section, and maybe between the two of us we'll come up with it. Anyway, yeah, that friend who I was telling about Crobat, he was real appreciative about all this information, because he didn't have a DS like all the cool kids. He was still stuck with a Game Boy Advance with the Fire Red, so he didn't know about any of the 4th gen stuff. And so yeah, that nowadays I don't have anyone in my life who would appreciate me telling them about Pokemon. Honestly, I wouldn't have anything to tell them, because I don't really follow it anymore. Look at that, we caught a Clefairy. Wonder if it already knows well, actually, I answered my own question in mid-thought. Why would it know Metronome? It's too early in the game for that. We gotta give it a funny nickname, cause that's just what the Let's Players do. Funny nicknames are heard. At the time I was thinking of naming it Barney Rubble, but there weren't enough letters for that. So we had to get creative. We had to do like a text-style abbreviation, like the cool young teenagers who abbreviate everything over the fancy text messages. Gosh, I'm so out of touch with the rest of the world. Well, anyway, there may or may not be more Pokemon. It depends on if you guys want it.